We're back with Mike Post, hands down the most successful music composer in television history. Mike has 2 pieces of music playing every second of each day.
So before the break we were talking about taking a chance, and what I did, I was a studio musician working for a number of different people that were making hits. I was being well paid. I took some of that money and I started finding garage bands that I could produce that I might be able to make hits on.
How old were you at that time?
21.
Wow.
And what happened, fortunately, was I had worked on a number of projects as a guitar player for a very famous producer named Jimmy Bowen. And I took one of the records that I had made to him, and he said, gee, the record's good. I don't love the artist, but I love the production you did. He says, why don't you come to work for me? I said, okay. And he made me an offer that was good, decent, for the time. It was 1967. And he offered to pay me $15,000 the first year, $17,500 the second year, and $20,000 the third year against all my writing, all my publishing, and all my producing, and 1% per single and 1% per album. Now in today's market, that's kind of a joke. It sounds like the guy really raked me over the coals, but the truth of the matter is he did me a huge service. He took me from one side of the glass where the musicians are to the other side of the glass where the producer is, and he gave me budgets to dream, to do whatever I wanted to do. And he told me, he says, you've got 1.5 years to make a hit record. I said, I'll do it in under a year. And he said, okay, have your lawyer get in touch. I said, no, and I just stuck out my hand. He said, no, this has to be I said, no, it doesn't. We'll just shake hands. And I said, you can send me a contract, and whatever it says, I'll sign. He goes, well, that's not smart. I said, this isn't about smart. This is about music. This isn't about business. It's about music. You're giving me a chance to make music. I don't care what you pay me. I don't care what any of the boilerplate says. I don't care what any of the details are. You're giving me a chance to make music. I'll give you a chance to be the most honorable person you can be, and we'll see how it goes. And of course he was honorable, and 8 months later I had a #2 record in the nation with Just Dropped In to See What Condition My Condition Was In, Kenny Rogers in the first edition. And 6 months after that I had my first Grammy for Classical Gas by Mason Williams, #1 record. So it worked out real well for his company, and it worked out real well for me.
And then where did you go after that then? Where did that take you?
It's a long and winding road, and that's another thing that you'll see in common with everybody you interview that's successful. It usually is not just one event. It's usually a series of events. And if anybody tells you that they foresaw it all and they saw it coming, I'd be highly surprised. Because what happens is, in my business, I have a formula and an equation, and I believe that talent decides if, and luck decides when and how big. I mean, I didn't know that I would be all those things that Carrie said I was. I didn't know. And she's right. I am all those things, but I don't think of myself that way. I don't wake up every morning and think, well, what have you accomplished in your 60 years on this, and list them all. I never think that way. I'm thinking about, how good it is to be in America, where I could follow any dream I wanted. How good it is to be fortunate enough to realize the things that you wanted to do. And then what am I going to write today? It's about the next thing. So the next event chronologically that happened to me was because of Classical Gas, which was a big orchestrated piece of rock and roll music. And not a lot of people had put rock licks in the orchestra. It was before Elton John. It was before all that stuff. And really just 2 guys had done it. Me and a guy named Jimmy Webb had a record called MacArthur's Park that won Grammy the same year. and he won it for the best arrangement accompanying a vocal, and I won it for the best instrumental arrangement. And they were very similar records. And that led to Andy Williams doing an 8 o'clock television show in which he was sort of a more traditional ballad singer, and he wanted somebody that could make him sound a little younger, appeal to more of a younger audience. Okay, get that kid that did Classical Gas. Well, okay.
He called you up, or?
Yeah, his manager called me, and then I went down and met with Andy and his manager and the producers of the show, and I told them at the time, I said, guys, television, I don't really care about TV. It comes through a little bitty speaker, and the audio's not really good, and I'm a rock and roll guy, I want to be a successful record producer, I want to be the next Phil Spector, minus the shooting. But and the hair. I saw his hair in a picture, paper someplace. Oh well. So I wanted to do that. I just wanted to be a very successful record producer and arranger. But I realized that the Andy Williams show would give me an orchestra, a big orchestra, every week to be arranging for. So now all of a sudden, Dr. Frankenstein had a laboratory every week to mess around with an orchestra, and that's, money can't buy that. So I had 38 guys in the orchestra, as I remember, and I did it for 2 years, and I learned, how to be a conductor, something I did not know, and I wasn't just horrible at, but I really did get pretty good OJT. That's another thing I think you'll find with most of the people you're going to interview is that most of us are ladder people. And what I mean by that is, you can be climbing along, and you can be going rung after rung, and okay, let's see, I'll go to this junior high school, and that'll get me into this high school, and that'll get me into this college, and then I'll go to this university for my graduate degree, and then I'll go to work for this kind of firm, and then I'll move up. Or you can be a guy that goes, oh no, I don't think I'm going to behave that way. I think I'm going to reach. I'm going to reach for rungs that my arms aren't quite long enough to grab, and then I'll just be rubber man and stretch. And that's what I meant about taking a chance, not only financially but emotionally, of putting yourself in a position of where you're not sure you can do this. And I've been there a lot. I have found myself standing in front of orchestras or standing with people or in situations where it's completely in doubt. Now, we're sitting here interviewing me, and I'm 60 years old, and that doesn't happen to me much anymore. But it still happens emotionally to me, because I write a piece of music every day that I'm working, and I hand it in. And somebody's got to like it. And if they don't like it, you know what? It still doesn't feel very good. It is still rejection, even with all those awards and all this jazz, and I don't care whose airplane you're flying in, or whose beachfront place you're sitting at, or what car you're driving. If you're risking something in art, if you're risking something emotionally, which is the only way you get to do art, then a little piece of your heart's on the line. Your feelings are on the line, because when they don't like it, it hurts. And people ask me what I do for a living. A lot of what I do for a living is I'm a code breaker. Producers speak to me in producer speak. Gee, could it be bluer or greener, or could it? I was thinking this when I wrote that line, and the actor didn't quite say it right, and the editor didn't edit it right. Can you fix it for me? I went, well, I'm the musician, I'm the composer here. I don't know if I can fix it for me, but I'll try. So the point is that, successful entrepreneurs, and successful, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means money, or that means accomplishments, or that means just, gee, I think I'm pretty good at my job and some other people agree with me. Whatever the definition is, you're going to find that they're risk takers. You're going to find that those of us that you're going to interview all are willing to risk.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.